Hi, I'm Mr. Hey Cooks, and this channel is about food, cooking, tips and tricks, and more. So if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and stay tuned for more Hey Cooks.
The first thing I did was draw Deadpool. Now I decided to draw the Deadpool from the movie as opposed to the comic book. I love Ryan Reynolds as this character. I feel like this is what he's like in real life, and because the character is so meta, I think it just adds to what we're already seeing on screen. Now to create this cake, I'm using red velvet cake because it matches the Deadpool suit. Place the template on top, and then using my sidekick paring knife, meatball, I just started to cut out the basic base shape. Now at the beginning of all bake cakes, they go through almost the exact same process. So if you've seen one, then you've probably seen them all. Now after I cut out the shape, I added some buttercream into the middle of the cake, and I just spread it out using my offset spatula. Now the market for Deadpool 2, my favorite piece of marketing was the Celine Dion music video. It is fabulous. The layers of incredible are just astounding. After I filled the middle of my cake with buttercream, I added the second layer and just started to carve away at the shape. Just rounding out the head and his limbs and then making sure that they're all separate. Now in the first Deadpool movie, they reference a lot of the old bad superhero movies that Ryan Reynolds has been a part of, like the Green Lantern. And it's hard for me to talk about terrible movies sometimes because I know that behind the scenes, a lot of people worked really hard. I gave this baby a crumb coat and then a fix-it coat just so I could fix all the places where I carved away too much or where I didn't emphasize the shape enough. Now I placed this into the fridge for about 30 minutes and I took my cake out of the fridge and I added on a large piece of red fondant. Now just using my hands and some carving tools, I just separated his head from his body and made sure there was definition in between each of his arms. Then I used the meatball to cut away all of the excess fondant. Now I gave him pecs because Ryan Reynolds' chest is huge. After I added his chest, I added some fondant pieces to create all of Deadpool's features. Now you can remake this for your family, for your friends. This is an extremely form-fitting suit, so I decided instead of adding fondant pieces to some places, I would just create more detail and definition using some sculpting tools. Then I added a very small Deadpool symbol. This was really hard to make because I had to make sure that the eyes were even, that the black was just a little bit smaller than the red that was on the outside. But I did it, and it looks pretty good. Now I just added Deadpool's eye detail. And using my sculpting tool, I just added 4 lines to give his mask more character. Now for this entire cake, I used magic sauce to glue all of my fondant pieces together, except for the eyes. I wanted to make sure that they were interchangeable, so that I could give him like regular eyes, and then maybe he was angry, and then he was like, oh, I'm so in love with that, and then he was like, are you for serious? And then it was a tee-hee. Voila! My Deadpool bake cake is complete. The suit has like no wear and tear. It looks like he just took it out of the Bloomingdale's box that he bought it from. I wish you could buy this at Bloomingdale's.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell your friends. And stay tuned for another episode of Hey Cooks!